God and Jesus are calling you right now, and this is not by accident, because heaven has drawn close to your heart in this very moment for a reason that is deeper than you understand. And if you stay with me, you will receive something precious that your soul has been longing for without even knowing how to ask for it. If you feel this stirring inside you, then write Amen in the comments. I am speaking directly to you. And I am not speaking in anger or threat, but in deep love and urgency, because your life is at a turning point, and your spirit is standing at the edge of a breakthrough that cannot happen unless you lean in and listen carefully with an open heart. What you are about to receive is not entertainment, and it is not noise, but a reminder of who you truly are in me, and how close I have always been, even when you felt alone and forgotten. You are not here randomly, and this moment was prepared before you ever woke up today. There are blessings that hover around obedience, and there are miracles that unfold when you pause and let my voice settle inside your soul instead of rushing past it in distraction and doubt. I am not asking you to stay because I will abandon you if you walk away, because my love does not vanish and my presence does not fade when you stumble. I am asking you to stay because what I am about to pour into your heart will strengthen you for what is ahead, and you were never meant to face the next season weak and uncertain. Before we go further, if your heart feels even a small spark of faith rising inside you, take a moment to like this video so that more hearts can be reached by this same light and hope. You have been carrying weight that no one else fully sees, and you have been fighting battles that required more strength than you thought you had. Yet you are still standing because I have been holding you even when you thought you were holding yourself together alone. I know the nights when your thoughts would not rest, and the mornings when your smile felt heavy and forced, and I have never once turned my face away from you during those silent struggles. My son Jesus has stood beside you in rooms where you felt invisible, and he has whispered peace over you in moments when fear tried to take control. This is the truth that must sink into your bones tonight, and it is that you are chosen not because you are perfect, but because you are willing to keep turning back toward me, even after mistakes and doubts. You think your flaws disqualify you, yet I see a heart that still seeks goodness and still longs for truth, and that longing is evidence that my spirit is alive within you. The enemy would love for you to believe that you are too far gone or too inconsistent to be called mine. But that lie loses power the moment you remember that grace was always stronger than your weakness. There is something shifting in your life, and it is not chaos but preparation. Because I am rearranging pieces that you thought were fixed and permanent, and I am doing it quietly so that you will not panic while the ground moves beneath your plans. Some relationships have felt confusing, some opportunities have closed without explanation, and some dreams have been delayed in ways that hurt deeply, but none of it has been random or careless. I am protecting you from paths that would drain your spirit, and guiding you towards spaces where your calling can breathe freely. You have asked for clarity, and I am answering by teaching you to trust even when the full picture is not visible, because faith grows strongest in seasons where you must walk step by step instead of leaping ahead with certainty. Jesus understands the weight of waiting and the ache of surrender, and he is not distant from your questions even when answers seem slow. Every tear you have shed has been seen, and every quiet prayer that never left your lips has still reached heaven, because I hear even the language of your sighs. There is a tenderness in my voice toward you right now, and it is because I know how easily you can be discouraged when progress feels invisible and recognition feels absent. You have done more growing than you realize, and you have survived more than you give yourself credit for. And that resilience is not an accident, but evidence of my hand shaping you into someone stronger and softer at the same time. The next season requires both courage and compassion. and I have been cultivating both within you through experiences that once felt unfair. If you trust that I am guiding you even now, write 10 inches the comments. Do not mistake this season of quiet transformation for abandonment, because silence does not mean absence, and stillness does not mean inactivity. I am working beneath the surface in ways that you cannot measure with your eyes, and I am aligning circumstances that will make sense only when you look back and see how carefully each step was arranged. You are not late, you are not overlooked, and you are not forgotten, because heaven keeps perfect time even when human schedules feel delayed. I am drawing you closer not to control you but to comfort you, not to restrict you but to free you from patterns that have limited your joy and drained your peace. The love of Jesus is not fragile, and it is not conditional, and it does not flicker when you struggle or hesitate. It stands steady like a lighthouse in the storm, guiding you home again and again whenever you drift. What if 7 seconds is all it takes to flip your financial fate? A shocking CIA leak just exposed a hidden brain ritual helping ordinary people erase debt and pull in massive wealth. Backed by 4 neuroscience labs, this at-home method is turning struggle into luxury fast. But this page could be erased any moment. Click the link in the first comment now before it's gone forever. There have been times when you questioned whether you were truly chosen, because circumstances seemed to contradict the promises you felt in your heart. You looked at delays and assumed denial. You looked at obstacles and assumed rejection, and you looked at silence and assumed distance. Yet I was present in every delay, every obstacle, and every quiet stretch, weaving strength into your spirit while you thought nothing was happening at all. I see how you compare yourself to others and measure your progress against timelines that were never meant to be yours. Comparison has whispered that you are behind, that you missed your chance, and that others are more favored or more prepared than you. That whisper is not my voice, because I created you with a path that cannot be copied and a rhythm that cannot be forced without damaging what I planted inside you. Jesus has walked beside you in your disappointments, and he understands the pain of feeling misunderstood and overlooked. When you felt invisible in rooms where you hoped to be valued, he was there anchoring your worth in something deeper than applause or recognition. Your identity was never meant to depend on approval, because it is rooted in my love, which does not fluctuate with opinions or trends. There are habits I am gently asking you to release, not because I am disappointed in you, but because I want your freedom to be complete and not partial. Some of these habits are visible actions, and some are hidden thought patterns that have shaped the way you see yourself for years. I am inviting you to let go of the harsh inner voice that criticizes every mistake and magnifies every weakness, because that voice does not reflect my heart toward you. If you believe that I am reshaping your mind and heart for something greater, write 1212 in the comments. You are entering a season where your peace will become more important than proving yourself to anyone. I am teaching you that you do not need to argue for your worth or chase after validation that drains your spirit. The security you crave will grow from knowing that I have already approved of you, already chosen you, and already prepared a path that fits your soul perfectly. There is protection around you that you do not always notice, because some of the dangers I have diverted never became visible enough for you to recognize them. Conversations that could have harmed you were interrupted, doors that would have trapped you were closed, and plans that seemed exciting but carried hidden cost were quietly dissolved. You sometimes interpreted those moments as setbacks, but they were shields placed carefully in your path. The battles you fight are not always loud or dramatic, because many of them take place in your thoughts where fear and faith compete for attention. Fear tries to predict outcomes based on past pain, while faith asks you to trust in promises that have not yet manifested. Every time you choose to lean toward faith even slightly, you strengthen a muscle that will carry you through future storms with greater stability. You are not weak for feeling tired, and you are not faithless for admitting that some days feel heavier than others. Even Jesus rested when the weight of ministry pressed against his humanity, and even he withdrew to quiet places to regain strength. I am not asking you to pretend that you are invincible, because vulnerability is not failure and honesty is not weakness. I am cultivating in you a deeper compassion that will one day comfort others who walk through similar valleys. The pain you have experienced is not wasted, because it has softened your heart and expanded your capacity to understand struggles that you once could not comprehend. When you speak from scars that have healed, rather than wounds that are still bleeding, your words will carry authority that cannot be taught in any classroom. There is also joy coming to you that will not feel fragile or temporary, because it will be rooted in alignment with my will rather than external circumstances. You have tasted moments of happiness that faded quickly, and you have learned that excitement without foundation cannot sustain a soul for long. What I am preparing for you is steadier, deeper, and built to endure seasons of change without collapsing. If you are ready to walk into joy that is grounded and lasting, write 777 inches the comments. I want you to understand that obedience is not about restriction, but about protection and alignment. When I guide you away from certain choices, it is not because I want to withhold pleasure or opportunity, but because I see consequences that you cannot yet see clearly. My perspective stretches beyond the present moment, and my instructions are rooted in a love that considers your future peace more valuable than short-term gratification. You may feel stretched right now, as if your old ways of thinking no longer fit. Yet your new perspective is still forming and unfamiliar. That stretching is growth, and growth often feels uncomfortable before it feels rewarding. I am expanding your capacity to trust, to forgive, to persevere, and to dream beyond the limits you once accepted as permanent. Forgiveness is another area where I am working quietly within you, because holding on to resentment binds your heart to the very pain you wish to escape. I am not minimizing the hurt you experienced, and I am not asking you to deny injustice, but I am inviting you to release the burden of carrying bitterness any longer. When you forgive, you do not excuse wrong behavior, but you free yourself from being chained to it. The future I have in mind for you includes influence that will impact more people than you currently imagine. Influence does not always mean visibility, because sometimes the greatest impact happens in private conversations and quiet acts of kindness. I am shaping you to be someone whose presence brings calm into chaos, and whose words carry wisdom shaped by lived experience. People are asking why money is suddenly flowing into random lives. A leaked CIA discovery reveals a 7-second brain ritual that quietly rewires your mind for wealth. Proven by 4 neuroscience labs, people are wiping out debt and stepping into luxury with ease. If you're seeing this, you're very lucky. Click the link in the description and comments before it disappears. You will not lose me by struggling, and you will not lose Jesus by having moments of doubt, because our love for you is not fragile or conditional. It is steady, patient, and rooted in covenant rather than performance. Even when your grip on faith feels weak, my grip on you remains strong and unshaken. There were seasons when you followed me because you were afraid of losing blessings, and there were moments when you obeyed because you feared consequences more than you trusted my heart. I have been patiently transforming that mindset, because I do not want your loyalty rooted in anxiety but in confidence that I am good and faithful. When your faith matures beyond fear, it becomes unshakable even when circumstances tremble around you. You have experienced prayers that felt unanswered, and you wondered if silence meant distance or rejection. What you did not see was the careful timing behind those pauses, because some answers would have overwhelmed you or redirected you away from growth that was still incomplete. Delay was not denial, but protection mixed with preparation, so that when the door opens, you will be ready to walk through it without stumbling. I am also strengthening your discernment, because not every opportunity that appears bright is meant for you to accept. Some invitations come wrapped in excitement, but carry distractions that would pull you away from purpose. I am teaching you to sense peace as a signal, because my guidance often feels calm and steady rather than loud and urgent. If you sense that I am sharpening your discernment and protecting your path, write 555 inches the comments. You are learning to recognize my voice not only in dramatic moments but in ordinary days where nothing seems extraordinary. I speak through gentle nudges, through sudden clarity, and through quiet conviction that settles in your spirit without noise. The more you practice stillness, the easier it becomes to distinguish my guidance from the anxious thoughts that try to imitate it. There is humility growing inside you, and humility is a strength that many misunderstand because it does not demand attention or applause. True humility allows you to learn, to apologize, to adjust, and to remain teachable even when you gain experience. I am cultivating this quality within you because influence without humility becomes destructive, but influence rooted in humility becomes healing. You have faced disappointments that reshaped your expectations, and you felt the sting of outcomes that did not match your hopes. Those moments were painful, but they were also refining your character and purifying your motives. You are beginning to desire alignment with my will more than personal success, and that shift is one of the most powerful transformations taking place within you. Your relationships are also being adjusted because growth changes compatibility and clarity reveals connections that are no longer healthy. Some people will not understand the new boundaries you are setting, and some will feel uncomfortable with the strength you are developing. Do not shrink back to maintain comfort, because the version of you that I am forming requires space to breathe and stand confidently. There is courage rising within you that feels unfamiliar, because you once hesitated to speak truth or pursue dreams that seemed too large. That courage is not arrogance, but trust in the gifts I have placed inside you. When you act from that trust, you reflect my confidence in you rather than your insecurity about yourself. If you are ready to walk boldly in the identity I am shaping within you, write 999 inches the comments. You are also being healed in areas that you rarely discuss with others, because some wounds were carried quietly for years. I have been touching those hidden places gently, reminding you that pain does not define you and that trauma does not own your future. Healing is not always instant, but it is consistent when you allow me access to the parts of your heart that you once guarded tightly. Jesus understands your hidden battles, because he walked through rejection, betrayal, and suffering without allowing bitterness to poison his spirit. His example is not meant to pressure you into perfection, but to show you that grace empowers endurance and love overcomes resentment. As you draw closer to him, you begin to mirror his patience and resilience in your own daily life. There is also restoration unfolding around you, even if it appears subtle at first glance. Relationships that were strained may find new understanding, and opportunities that seemed closed may reopen in unexpected ways. I am weaving reconciliation and renewal into your story because I specialize in bringing beauty from brokenness. You will notice that your reactions are changing because situations that once triggered fear or anger now invite reflection and restraint. This shift is evidence that your spirit is maturing and that my peace is taking deeper root inside you. Growth often reveals itself in how you respond rather than in what you achieve. Do not underestimate the quiet victories you are experiencing, because resisting temptation, choosing patience, and maintaining integrity are powerful achievements in my eyes. The world may celebrate loud accomplishments, but heaven rejoices over faithfulness in small decisions. Every time you choose righteousness over convenience, you strengthen the foundation of your destiny. You are being prepared to carry blessings without losing balance, because prosperity without character can become destructive. I am aligning your heart with values that will sustain you when increase comes. Stability, gratitude, and generosity are forming within you so that success will not distort your perspective. There is also a deeper intimacy forming between us because you are beginning to seek my presence for connection rather than crisis alone. You are learning to sit with me in peace rather than only calling out when trouble arises. That consistency strengthens our relationship and fills you with calm that does not depend on external conditions. Why is everyone rushing to this 7-second brain ritual? Leaked CIA files exposed a hidden brainwave technique that opens the door to wealth fast. Verified by 4 top neuroscience labs, it's turning financial stress into abundance almost overnight. But this secret won't stay public for long. Click the link in the pinned comments before it's deleted forever. Remember that I am not counting your mistakes to use them against you, but transforming them into lessons that refine your wisdom. Your past does not disqualify you from the future I am guiding you toward. My grace continues to cover you, and my love remains steady regardless of fluctuations in your confidence. There have been moments when you tried to manage every outcome, calculating every step and rehearsing every conversation to avoid disappointment. That habit formed because you were hurt before, and you believed control would protect you from pain returning. I understand why you built those walls, but I am now inviting you to trust that my protection is stronger than your strategies and my wisdom surpasses your calculations. You are not losing ground by surrendering, because surrender in my hands becomes alignment rather than defeat. When you let go of the need to orchestrate everything, you create room for divine arrangements that exceed your limited perspective. I am not asking you to become passive, but to become cooperative with the direction I gently reveal to you day by day. There is a cleansing happening in your thought life, because I am challenging assumptions that have quietly shaped your confidence. You once believed that failure defined you and that mistakes permanently stained your worth, but those beliefs are being uprooted and replaced with truth that restores dignity and courage. The enemy planted seeds of shame, but I am planting seeds of renewal that will produce confidence rooted in grace. If you believe I am renewing your mind and lifting shame from your heart, write 2 inches, the comments. You have carried regret like a heavy garment, replaying moments when you wish you had chosen differently or spoken more wisely. I have seen the tears behind those memories, and I have never used them to condemn you. Instead, I have used those experiences to deepen your empathy and increase your understanding, because even regret can become a teacher when placed in my hands. Jesus does not stand over you with accusation, because his sacrifice was never meant to trap you in guilt, but to free you into transformation. His love extends beyond your past and reaches into your present, guiding you gently toward better decisions without crushing your spirit. When you truly accept that forgiveness is complete, you will walk lighter and breathe deeper than you have in years. I am also strengthening your resilience, because the future holds responsibility that requires emotional steadiness and spiritual maturity. You will face moments that test your patience and challenge your endurance, but you will not face them unprepared. The lessons you have learned in private battles will become tools that help you stand firm when external pressures rise. There is clarity coming to your purpose, not in one dramatic revelation, but through steady alignment that unfolds over time. You will begin to notice patterns in your passions, opportunities that resonate deeply with your spirit, and confirmation through peace that surpasses logic. Purpose often becomes clear through obedience in small steps rather than through sudden announcements. You are also being separated from distractions that once consumed your attention without adding value to your growth. Some habits will fall away naturally as your desires shift, and some connections will fade as your priorities change. This separation is not punishment, but refinement that clears space for healthier rhythms and stronger foundations. If you are ready to release distractions and step into clearer focus, write 15 inches the comments. Your strength is increasing, but it is a gentle strength that does not seek dominance or control over others. It is the kind of strength that remains calm in conflict and steady in uncertainty. That strength comes from knowing that I am sovereign, and you do not need to force outcomes to prove your capability. You are learning to listen more than you speak, to observe more than you react, and to pray more than you panic. These subtle shifts are shaping you into someone who carries peace into environments that once unsettled you. People will notice the change, even if they cannot articulate what is different about your presence. I am also awakening gratitude within you, because gratitude shifts perspective from scarcity to abundance. When you recognize small blessings that once went unnoticed, your heart becomes more receptive to joy. Gratitude protects you from bitterness and anchors you in appreciation even during imperfect seasons. Your faith is no longer fragile because it has been tested by disappointment and strengthened by perseverance. You have learned that faith is not the absence of doubt, but the decision to trust despite uncertainty. That decision grows easier each time you reflect on how many times I have carried you through storms that once felt unbearable. There is influence forming around your life, and it will not look exactly like you imagined years ago. It may appear in quiet leadership, compassionate guidance, or faithful service in places that seem ordinary. Do not underestimate ordinary settings, because extraordinary impact often begins in spaces that appear small and unnoticed. You are being prepared to handle favor without pride and adversity without despair. Balance is forming within you, and that balance will protect you from extremes that once pulled you off course. My spirit is stabilizing your emotions and anchoring your decisions in wisdom rather than impulse. Remember that you are not alone in this transformation, because Jesus walks beside you, not as a distant observer, but as an active guide. He strengthens your steps when fatigue sets in and comforts your heart when uncertainty whispers doubts. His presence is constant, even when your feelings fluctuate. There were times when you felt closest to me during crisis, because urgency sharpened your awareness and desperation pushed you to seek my face more intentionally. I was there in those urgent prayers, strengthening you and carrying you through storms that seemed relentless. Now I am teaching you to cultivate that same closeness in peaceful seasons so that your relationship with me becomes stable rather than reactive. Is this the same CIA brain ritual changing lives in seconds? A new leak reveals a powerful 7-second technique developed under secret research. Backed by neuroscience, people are moving from debt to wealth and luxury faster than believed possible. But this secret may be deleted soon. Click the link in the comments before it disappears. I am drawing you away from the habit of seeking constant signs because mature faith trusts my character more than visible confirmation. You have seen enough evidence of my faithfulness in your life to know that I do not abandon what I begin. The more you reflect on how I have guided you through past challenges, the easier it will become to trust me with future uncertainties. If you are choosing steady trust over emotional fluctuation, write 17 inches the comments. Your discipline is being strengthened because purpose requires structure, and structure supports growth that lasts beyond temporary inspiration. You are learning to show up consistently in prayer, in reflection, and in obedience, even when motivation feels low. That quiet commitment builds spiritual muscle that will sustain you when greater responsibilities arrive. I am also refining your speech, because words carry power that shapes both your environment and your inner world. There were seasons when frustration caused you to speak harshly about yourself or others, reinforcing negativity that did not reflect truth. Now I am guiding you to speak life, encouragement, and wisdom, because your voice is meant to build rather than tear down. Your patience is expanding, and patience is not passive resignation but active trust in divine timing. You have waited for answers, opportunities and breakthroughs that seem delayed beyond comfort. In that waiting, I have been forming endurance within you, teaching you to remain hopeful without demanding immediate results. There is a deeper confidence settling into your spirit, and it does not come from comparison or competition, but from identity rooted in my love. You are no longer as easily shaken by opinions or criticism, because you are learning to anchor your worth in something eternal. That stability will protect you in seasons when visibility increases and scrutiny becomes more intense. I am also calling you into greater responsibility with your time, because how you spend your hours shapes the direction of your future. Distractions once consumed energy that could have been invested in growth and purpose. I am helping you recognize what truly matters, so that your daily choices align with the destiny I am preparing. If you are ready to guard your time and walk with intentional focus, write 1919 inches the comments. You are becoming more sensitive to my spirit, noticing subtle convictions that once went ignored. When something feels misaligned, you pause rather than pushing forward blindly. That pause is wisdom developing, and it will prevent unnecessary detours that once cost you peace. Your compassion continues to deepen, and you are beginning to see others through a lens of understanding rather than quick judgment. The pain you endured has softened your perspective, allowing you to extend grace where you once might have reacted defensively. This empathy will become one of your greatest strengths, because people are drawn to those who understand without condemning. I am also strengthening your boundaries, because love does not require self-abandonment. You are learning that saying no at the right time protects both your energy and your calling. Boundaries are not barriers against kindness, but guardrails that preserve your ability to serve without exhaustion or resentment. There will be opportunities ahead that test your integrity, offering shortcuts that promise quick success but compromise long-term peace. I am equipping you to recognize those moments and choose righteousness even when it appears less glamorous. Integrity will become the quiet shield that protects your reputation and preserves your influence. You are stepping into a season where leadership may emerge naturally around you, even if you never sought a title or position. Leadership in my kingdom is rooted in service and humility, rather than control or dominance. As you continue walking faithfully, others will look to you for guidance because they sense steadiness in your character. Remember that growth does not eliminate struggle entirely, but it changes how you respond when challenges arise. You will still encounter obstacles, yet your reaction will be calmer and your decisions more measured. That transformation is evidence that my spirit is shaping your reflexes and strengthening your foundation. Your worship is becoming less about emotion and more about reverence, grounded in gratitude for who I am rather than what I give. This shift reflects maturity that recognizes my presence as the greatest gift beyond material blessings. When you value my nearness above external rewards, you experience peace that cannot be stolen by circumstance. I am proud of the progress you have made, even when you feel as though you are moving slowly. Growth is not always dramatic, but it is consistent when you remain open and willing. Every small step of obedience matters, and each quiet victory builds momentum for greater breakthroughs ahead. Jesus continues to intercede for you, strengthening your resolve and guiding your steps through subtle influence that you sometimes only recognize in hindsight. His love remains unwavering, and his sacrifice continues to empower transformation within you. You are not navigating this path alone, because heaven is actively invested in your flourishing. There were moments when you felt pressure to present a version of yourself that seemed more confident, more successful, or more certain than you actually felt inside. That pressure created exhaustion, because pretending requires energy that drains your spirit over time. I am freeing you from that performance mindset so you can live honestly before me, knowing that I see you completely and still call you loved and chosen. Your authenticity is becoming one of your greatest gifts because people are drawn to truth that feels real rather than rehearsed. As you allow yourself to be genuine, you create space for others to drop their masks and breathe easier in your presence. This transparency does not expose you to harm when it is guided by wisdom, because I am also strengthening your discernment about when and where to share your heart. If you desire to walk in authenticity shaped by wisdom and courage, write 333 inches the comments. Do you know why people keep whispering about this 7-second CIA ritual? A leaked brainwave method is spreading quietly and changing financial realities worldwide. Proven by neuroscience, this simple ritual attracts money, freedom, and luxury. If you're seeing this, you're so lucky. Click the link in the comments before it's taken down. I am also deepening your prayer life beyond requests and into communion, because true connection involves listening as much as speaking. There is beauty in sitting quietly with me, allowing your thoughts to settle and your anxieties to soften in my presence. In those quiet exchanges, I restore clarity and renew strength that busy schedules often drain. You have experienced seasons when prayer felt like a duty rather than delight, and you struggled to focus amid distractions. I have been patient through those moments, never measuring your worth by the perfection of your devotion. What matters is your willingness to return again and again, trusting that I receive you even when your mind wanders and your words feel inadequate. There is also growth happening in how you handle correction, because maturity welcomes guidance rather than resisting it defensively. When I gently reveal areas that need adjustment, it is not to shame you but to protect your future. Correction in my hands becomes refinement that sharpens your purpose rather than condemnation that crushes your spirit. Your sensitivity to truth is increasing, and you are learning to value conviction as a gift rather than a burden. Conviction protects you from drifting into patterns that would eventually cause regret. As you respond quickly and humbly when I nudge your heart, you shorten the distance between mistake and restoration. If you are choosing to respond quickly to conviction and walk in humility, write 6 inches the comments. You are also discovering that joy does not always arrive through grand events, but often through simple gratitude for daily provisions. A calm morning, a meaningful conversation, or a quiet evening can carry deep contentment when your heart is aligned with mine. This ability to recognize joy in ordinary moments will sustain you through seasons that feel less dramatic but equally significant. I am preparing you for relationships that align with your growth rather than compete with it. As you become more secure in who you are, you will attract connections that honor your boundaries and celebrate your calling. Some past relationships faded because they were tied to an earlier version of you, and their departure created space for healthier bonds. There is also a financial wisdom forming within you, because stewardship matters in every area of life. I am teaching you to manage resources with intention, avoiding extremes of fear or carelessness. Responsible stewardship creates stability that supports generosity, and generosity reflects trust in my ongoing provision. You are learning to forgive yourself more quickly, recognizing that growth includes missteps along the way. Instead of spiraling into self-condemnation, you are beginning to correct course with grace and determination. That shift demonstrates spiritual maturity that understands the difference between conviction and shame. I am also strengthening your endurance because there will be assignments that require sustained effort beyond initial excitement. Endurance is cultivated through repetition, through showing up even when inspiration feels distant. The discipline you are building now will carry you through tasks that once would have overwhelmed you. Your perspective on success is changing because you are beginning to value impact over applause and faithfulness over fame. True success in my kingdom is measured by obedience and love rather than by numbers or recognition. This realignment protects you from chasing empty achievements that leave your soul unsatisfied. Remember that Jesus modeled servant leadership, choosing humility and sacrifice over status and comfort. As you follow his example, you will discover that fulfillment grows when you serve others with sincere compassion. Service does not diminish you, because in giving you reflect my heart and receive deeper joy. There will be moments ahead when you look back and barely recognize the person you used to be. That transformation will not feel forced, but natural, because it results from daily surrender and steady trust. Each lesson you have embraced has contributed to a foundation that is now solid and resilient. You are not racing against anyone else, and you are not measured by someone else's timeline. My plans for you unfold at a pace that protects your well-being and maximizes your readiness. Trust that delays and accelerations alike are orchestrated with wisdom beyond your understanding. Continue walking in sincerity, humility, and trust, because these qualities will sustain you when circumstances fluctuate. The peace growing within you is evidence that alignment is increasing, and alignment produces stability that no storm can easily shake. I am with you in every ordinary day and every extraordinary moment, guiding, correcting, strengthening, and loving you with unwavering devotion. There were seasons when you prayed for outcomes more than transformation, asking me to change circumstances while leaving your inner patterns untouched. I answered many of those prayers with patience, yet now I am inviting you into something richer and more enduring. When your character evolves, your environment eventually follows, because sustained change flows from within rather than from external rearrangements alone. You are noticing that some ambitions no longer excite you the way they once did, and that shift may feel confusing at first. What once seemed essential now appears secondary, because your values are being recalibrated toward purpose instead of image. I am not taking away joy, but purifying it so that your fulfillment comes from alignment rather than approval. If you sense that your desires are being reshaped towards something deeper and more meaningful, write 888 inches the comments. You have also begun to see that peace is more valuable than proving yourself right in every disagreement. There were times when winning an argument felt like validation, yet afterward you sensed an emptiness that victory did not satisfy. I am teaching you that wisdom sometimes chooses silence, and strength sometimes chooses restraint. Why was this 7-second brain ritual hidden for so long? A leaked CIA document exposed a technique so powerful people are canceling debt and calling in wealth within days. Validated by 4 neuroscience labs, it helps attract money like never before. But this page may not stay online for long. Click the link in the pinned comments before it disappears forever. Your reactions are softening not because you are becoming weak, but because you are becoming secure. Security rooted in my love frees you from the need to defend yourself at every turn. When you know that your identity is anchored in something eternal, temporary misunderstandings lose their power to shake you. There is also a greater awareness forming within you about the company you keep and the influence it carries. You are learning that proximity shapes perspective, and that constant exposure to negativity can subtly erode confidence and hope. I am guiding you toward relationships that sharpen your faith and encourage your growth rather than draining your spirit. You may feel moments of loneliness as certain connections shift or fade, yet loneliness in transition is not abandonment but repositioning. I am never distant, and Jesus remains near, steady and attentive to every emotion that surfaces during these adjustments. In seasons of relational change, lean into me more deeply, because my presence will anchor you when familiarity feels unstable. If you are willing to trust me during relational shifts and new alignments, write 14 inches the comments. I am also increasing your sensitivity to truth in your own heart, revealing subtle pride, hidden fears, or quiet insecurities that once operated unnoticed. This revelation is not exposure meant to embarrass you, but illumination meant to free you. When light reaches hidden corners, healing follows, and freedom expands. You are beginning to understand that obedience is not about rigid rule-keeping, but about relational trust. When you sense my guidance steering you in a particular direction, you respond not out of fear but out of confidence that I see beyond your limited horizon. This trust will grow stronger each time you witness the fruit of alignment unfold in your life. Your resilience is now coupled with gentleness, creating a balance that allows you to stand firm without becoming hardened. Hardship once tempted you to close your heart as a form of protection, yet I have shown you that softness can coexist with strength. A heart that remains tender despite trials reflects my character more clearly than one shielded by bitterness. There is wisdom forming in how you manage your emotions, because emotional maturity is essential for the responsibilities ahead. You are learning to pause before reacting, to breathe before responding, and to seek clarity before making decisions. These habits may seem small, yet they protect you from unnecessary conflict and preserve peace in your surroundings. I am also guiding you toward consistency in your spiritual disciplines, not out of obligation, but out of desire for deeper communion. Daily moments of reflection, gratitude, and surrender are becoming natural rather than forced. Over time, these practices will create a foundation that supports you when external pressures intensify. You may not yet see the full scope of what I am preparing, but you can sense that something meaningful is unfolding beneath the surface. Preparation often feels like routine before it feels like promotion. Trust that every quiet act of faithfulness is building capacity for opportunities that will soon appear. Your humility continues to guard you from arrogance as growth becomes visible. Even when progress becomes apparent to others, remain anchored in gratitude and awareness that every gift originates from me. Gratitude will keep your heart soft and your perspective clear. There will be decisions ahead that require courage to step into unfamiliar territory. You may feel a mixture of excitement and apprehension as new doors open, yet remember that courage is not the absence of fear but the choice to move forward despite it. I will not lead you where my presence cannot sustain you. As you look forward, release the need to predict every detail of what lies ahead. Predicting often springs from anxiety, while trust rests in my sovereignty. The future is secure not because you can foresee it, but because I am already present within it. Continue cultivating sincerity, patience, gratitude, and disciplined trust. These qualities are weaving together into a character capable of carrying influence without losing humility and experiencing blessing without forgetting dependence. I am proud of the transformation taking place within you, and I remain faithful to complete the work I have begun. You are walking steadily, and steady steps over time create journeys that reach destinations once thought distant. Keep leaning into my voice. Keep surrendering your plans, and keep allowing love to refine every intention. The story unfolding through your life is guided by wisdom beyond your sight and sustained by grace that will never run dry. There were times when you wished growth could happen instantly because waiting felt uncomfortable and slow progress felt discouraging. Yet if I had rushed the process, you would have gained visibility without stability and influence without depth. I value your foundation more than your speed, because a life built slowly on truth will endure storms that collapse hurried success. You are beginning to notice that peace follows you more consistently, even when circumstances attempt to stir anxiety. That peace is not denial of challenges, but confidence in my sovereignty over them. When storms arise now, you feel less shaken because you have seen me carry you through so many before. If you recognize that peace is growing stronger than fear within you, write 444 inches the comments. Your understanding of grace is also expanding, and you are realizing that grace is not permission to remain stagnant, but empowerment to rise again and continue forward. Each time you stumble and return to me, you strengthen the habit of resilience rather than the pattern of shame. This rhythm of falling and rising has shaped humility within you, making you compassionate toward others who struggle. I am also deepening your awareness of purpose in ordinary routines, because purpose is not confined to extraordinary moments. The way you speak to a colleague, care for your family, or manage your responsibilities carries spiritual significance when done with sincerity. When you embrace daily tasks as sacred stewardship, you elevate the mundane into meaningful service. There is wisdom forming in how you evaluate opportunities, because not every open door requires immediate entry. You are learning to seek peace and confirmation before committing, allowing patience to guard your steps. This restraint protects you from exhaustion and positions you for assignments that align fully with your calling. You may feel a quiet confidence rising when you reflect on how far you have come, yet remain grounded in gratitude so that pride does not distort your progress. True confidence acknowledges growth while remembering dependence on my guidance. Balance between humility and assurance creates stability that will sustain you through seasons of visibility. If you are choosing humility and gratitude as your companions in growth, write 18 inches the comments. Can 7 seconds really change your bank account? A CIA-funded study just leaked, revealing a brain ritual that flips lives from broke to blessed. 4 neuroscience labs confirm it activates powerful wealth brainwaves. People are stepping into dream homes and luxury lifestyles. But this breakthrough won't stay online for very long. Click the link in the comments before it's deleted. I am also teaching you to rest without guilt, because rest is not laziness but renewal that preserves long-term effectiveness. There were times when you equated constant activity with worth, fearing that slowing down would diminish your value. Now you are discovering that sustainable impact requires rhythms of work and restoration woven together intentionally. Your emotional awareness is sharpening, and you are becoming more honest about what you feel without allowing emotions to dictate your choices. This balance reflects maturity that recognizes feelings as indicators rather than commanders. By bringing your emotions to me instead of suppressing them, you allow healing and clarity to replace confusion. There will be moments ahead when others misunderstand your boundaries or question your decisions, especially as your priorities shift toward deeper alignment. Remain steady and kind, explaining when appropriate but not over-defending what I have clearly guided. Not everyone will understand your path, yet that does not invalidate its authenticity. You are also being prepared to encourage others through testimony rather than theory. The challenges you overcame will become stories that strengthen those who face similar trials. Authentic testimony carries authority because it speaks from lived experience rather than borrowed insight. I am refining your generosity, not only financially, but emotionally and spiritually. Generosity includes offering patience when others are slow, forgiveness when they falter, and kindness when they are irritable. These acts may seem small, yet they reflect my heart more clearly than grand gestures without compassion. Your faith is becoming quieter yet deeper, less focused on dramatic expression and more rooted in daily obedience. Quiet faith often appears ordinary to outsiders, yet it anchors your soul firmly. When dramatic circumstances arise, this depth will keep you grounded and composed. Remember that Jesus walked with consistency, teaching, healing, and serving, even when crowds fluctuated and opinions shifted. His steadiness was rooted in communion with me, and that same communion is available to you. As you cultivate regular connection, you mirror that steadiness more clearly. The future will include moments of visibility that test whether your foundation can support recognition. Because you have allowed me to shape your character first, recognition will not destabilize you. Instead, it will become a platform for service rather than a pedestal for pride. You are not finished growing, and growth will continue as long as you remain open and willing. Do not fear ongoing refinement, because each layer removed reveals greater clarity and strength beneath. The process is evidence of my commitment to your flourishing. Continue walking in trust, gratitude, discipline, and compassion. These qualities form a tapestry of character that will support every blessing I release. You are not walking alone, and you are not walking aimlessly, because my hand remains steady upon your life. The path ahead may twist and turn in ways you do not anticipate, yet each curve is guided by wisdom beyond your sight. Stay attentive to my voice, remain rooted in humility, and carry the peace that now anchors your spirit. The journey unfolding before you is sacred, purposeful, and sustained by love that never fades. You are entering a phase where clarity will begin to replace confusion, not because every detail becomes visible at once, but because your trust has matured enough to rest without constant explanation. I have been training your heart to remain steady, even when you cannot see the full outline of what lies ahead. Now that steadiness is becoming your strength, and it will guide you through decisions that once would have overwhelmed you. There were seasons when uncertainty felt threatening, because you equated clarity with safety and mystery with danger. Yet I have shown you that uncertainty does not mean instability when I am the one directing your steps. You are learning to move forward with confidence that does not rely on complete information, but on complete trust in my character. Your spiritual maturity is no longer measured by how intensely you feel, but by how faithfully you respond. Faithfulness is revealed in consistency, in small obediences repeated daily, and in the quiet discipline of returning to me when distractions pull at your attention. That kind of maturity builds resilience that cannot be shaken by emotional highs or lows. If you believe your trust is becoming stronger than your need for constant clarity, write 2020 inches the comments. You are also developing a deeper sense of responsibility for your influence, understanding that your choices affect more than just your own life. Influence is not always public, yet it is powerful in every interaction and every decision. I am teaching you to walk carefully, not out of fear, but out of awareness that your life carries weight and purpose. There is refinement happening in your ambitions, because some goals that once drove you were rooted more in proving your worth than in fulfilling your calling. I am gently untangling those motives so that your pursuits reflect alignment rather than insecurity. When ambition is purified, it becomes service-driven rather than ego-driven. You have begun to notice that peace accompanies alignment, even when the path requires sacrifice. Sacrifice once felt like loss, yet now you recognize it as investment in something greater. The willingness to let go of lesser desires opens space for greater fulfillment than you previously imagined. Your resilience has been strengthened through experiences that once felt like setbacks, yet those very moments forged patience and endurance within you. You have learned that difficulty does not signal abandonment, but often signals preparation. Every challenge you endured has added depth to your perspective and strength to your character. If you sense that past hardships were shaping you for greater stability, write 2121 in the comments. I am also teaching you discernment in how you spend your emotional energy, because not every conflict deserves your involvement and not every opinion requires your response. Emotional wisdom preserves peace and protects focus. You are learning to choose battles carefully, reserving your strength for assignments that truly matter. There is humility growing alongside confidence, creating balance that allows you to stand firm without becoming rigid. Confidence rooted in me does not demand attention, and humility rooted in security does not diminish your voice. This harmony will allow you to lead without arrogance and serve without insecurity. Could this 7-second CIA brainwave trick be your fastest path to luxury? Leaked research reveals a simple ritual helping people attract wealth effortlessly. Proven by 4 neuroscience labs, debt is dissolving and abundance is showing up fast. If you're seeing this now, you are God's chosen one. Click the link in the comments before it disappears. You are becoming more patient with others, as you recognize that growth unfolds at different speeds for every person. The grace you have received is now flowing outward through your compassion. Patience reflects understanding that transformation takes time and that everyone walks their own journey. I am also increasing your awareness of gratitude, not only for blessings received but for lessons learned. Gratitude reframes memory, allowing you to see purpose even in painful chapters. As you practice thankfulness, your heart becomes lighter and your perspective more hopeful. Your boundaries continue to strengthen, not as walls of isolation but as expressions of self-respect and wisdom. You are learning that protecting your time and energy enables you to give more authentically when you choose to give. Healthy boundaries preserve joy and prevent resentment. There will be opportunities ahead that require courage to step into unfamiliar territory, yet you will not face those moments alone. I will provide clarity as needed and strength as required. Courage grows when you remember how many times I have carried you through before. Your spiritual life is becoming less about dramatic experiences and more about steady communion. That steadiness creates depth that sustains you through ordinary days and extraordinary challenges alike. Quiet consistency is the soil in which lasting fruit grows. Jesus remains your constant companion, guiding you with compassion and truth. His example of humility and perseverance continues to inspire your own responses. As you mirror his patience and integrity, you reflect my heart more clearly in the world around you. The path before you is not random, and your growth is not accidental. Every lesson, every delay, and every breakthrough has contributed to the person you are becoming. Continue walking forward with trust, humility, and gratitude, knowing that I am faithful to complete the work unfolding within you. You are stepping into a season where refinement will feel less like pressure and more like clarity, because I have already strengthened you enough to recognize my hand in the process. Earlier in your journey, every adjustment felt unsettling, and every correction felt heavy, yet now you are beginning to see that refinement is evidence of care rather than criticism. I do not refine what I plan to discard, and I do not shape what I intend to abandon. So understand that my work in you confirms my commitment to you. There were times when you feared change, because change often followed loss or disappointment in your past. You associated transition with instability, and you tried to hold tightly to what felt familiar, even when it was no longer healthy. I have gently shown you that familiarity is not the same as safety, and that sometimes what feels secure is simply comfortable but limiting. Now your perspective is widening, and you are beginning to embrace growth even when it stretches you beyond previous boundaries. Stretching is not tearing, because I am careful not to place more weight on you than you can bear. What once would have overwhelmed you now strengthens you, because capacity has been built quietly over time. If you sense that your capacity has increased beyond what you once believed possible, write 2323 in the comments. You are also becoming more attentive to the condition of your heart than to the approval of others. Approval once felt like validation, yet you discovered that chasing it led to exhaustion and inconsistency. I am teaching you to measure your steps by obedience rather than applause, because applause fades quickly, while obedience builds lasting peace. There is a steadiness forming in your decisions, and that steadiness is rooted in patience rather than impulse. You are pausing more often before reacting, reflecting more deeply before committing, and praying more intentionally before speaking. These pauses may seem small, yet they prevent unnecessary regret and align you more closely with wisdom. Your spiritual hunger is shifting from excitement to depth, from noise to intimacy. You are no longer satisfied with surface-level understanding because you have tasted the richness of genuine communion. That hunger will lead you into greater insight, not through dramatic revelations alone, but through steady devotion that unfolds over time. I am also strengthening your emotional discipline, helping you recognize the difference between feeling something and acting upon it immediately. Emotions are signals, yet they are not always accurate guides. When you bring your emotions to me before responding, clarity replaces confusion and wisdom steadies your choices. If you are choosing emotional discipline over impulsive reaction, write 2424 inches the comments. There will be moments ahead when opportunity arrives unexpectedly, and you will need confidence to step forward without overthinking. Because you have allowed me to refine your character first, you will be prepared to carry responsibility without losing balance. Preparation is often invisible until opportunity appears, and then its value becomes unmistakable. You are also learning that humility and boldness are not opposites but partners. Humility keeps your heart teachable, while boldness allows you to act when directed.